first network to be reporting this morning. NewsNation's Diana Falzone, she just confirmed this. Andrew Cuomo will be announcing this week he plans on running as an independent in the New York City mayor's race this fall. Here's the thing. He will ask all the other candidates, other than Zohran Mamdani, who was, of course, the Democratic candidate, to drop out if they're not leading in the polls by mid-September. That includes himself. This, of course, could set him up as the only viable challenger to Mamdani. Scott, I will stick with you. Again, new this morning. We're kind of springing this on you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, thanks. It's early in the morning. Cuomo is an interesting political candidate for the mayor's race. Mamdani beat him in this kind of valued voting system New York has. I would think just the opposite. I would think Cuomo is getting in because the current mayor is running as an independent, and both are middle of the road or moderate Democrats, if you will. And if you split this vote, even with this tenured voting, if you will, if you split the vote, then you need less to have the majority in New York City. And so you could win with 30%, maybe 25% or more, as splitting the vote with three viable candidates. And so I tend to disagree with that strategy with Cuomo. But again, this is new. We need to hear more, and I'm open to hearing more. But Cuomo's got a political following in New York, and so does the current mayor. And Mamdani certainly does, and is very popular with young people. This is shaping up to be a really, really interesting race that most of the country are going to be watching, because do the Democrats go further left, which most don't think they should because 80%, 70% of Americans are in the middle, or do they go back to Cuomo, who's a deeply flawed candidate, or the current mayor that's a deeply flawed candidate? It's going to be interesting to watch.
It is going to be interesting to watch. Rachel, we know Andrew Cuomo, he did not win the Democratic Party. Of course, he's a resigned governor. What do you make of him now planning to run as an independent? And of course, this request to the other candidates to drop out, and that includes Republican Curtis Sliwa. Of course, I know he's left out of the conversation a lot, but we all know him in New York, especially if these candidates are not leading in September.
Well, I think the only way this works out for Cuomo is if everybody else drops out if they're not in the lead, because to Scott's point, you end up splitting the vote, which benefits Mamdani. The more people who are in this race, the easier it is for the candidate with the majority to win with just the barest majority. And so I think that the only way this is going to work is if people accept Andrew Cuomo's proposal. But I think he's making a bet here. He's making a bet that the more people learn about Zohran Mamdani, the more scared they're going to be, right? Because that is the tactic they're taking already. They're saying, Democrats, socialists love America. They're pulling out things that he said in the past, plans that he has for New Yorkers. And these are the things they're going to put front and center and say, is this who you really want running this city? He's going to run the city in the ground. They're going to say all these things. It's a fear campaign. And Cuomo, I think, is making a bet that he is going to win on the end of that by being, even with all the baggage that he has, Mr. Return to normalcy in New York. We'll see if it works. It's an audacious bet, but I think that's what he's doing.
Well, thank you for talking to me about that. Again, this just coming into the newsroom, and NewsNation broke it first.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.